All right, here we go. It's Fairfield County Live and Local. We're presented by the Sono Collection. My name is John Kamal from 95.9 The Fox, and I am sitting down with left to right. Let's go with Calvin, Ethan, Ava, Anton, and Joseph. This is Platinum Moon. Thank you guys for being here.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
So the real question on my mind is, how old are you guys? I intentionally didn't ask this in the pre-show because I wanted to be genuinely surprised. How old are you guys?
Well, I'm 18, 19. Whoa, that was
Okay.
weird.
Okay. I'm
Sometimes
16.
we need. Okay.
I'm 17. I'm 15.
I'm 18, about to be 19.
So most of you guys are, correct me if I'm wrong, still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Now, for people who don't know about Platinum Moon, I got to tell you, I've been playing your songs, both Iron Heart and Dark Knight, over the last couple of months. You guys do not, and please understand, take this as the compliment that it's meant as, you do not sound like you're that young at all. This is a very polished, this is a very, it's an older sound. So how did the band get started? How did you guys come together?
Yeah, so like a couple years ago, I think like about 3 years ago, my brother and I were in a previous band with our bassist Calvin, and that band, things didn't work out and we broke up. So we had to find a drummer and a singer. So I found Ava through looking at random YouTube videos online and like looking through like local music schools like School of Rocks and other things like that.
Nice.
We eventually found this really good singer from, I think it was Lagone Music School, who performed By the Sword by Slash. And I was like, I want her. And then we figured out how to like contact her. And then we got Ava. And then when we were looking for our drummer, we contacted a drum instructor, shout out Gary Schwartz, and he recommended Ethan. So that's how we became Platinum Moon.
See, I love that because that's such a new way of like of forming a band. For me, you got to understand, like being like I'm almost twice as old as some of you guys. And that's just that's so cool. So on YouTube, is that a common thing to like just look for people who are just putting out great content on YouTube or across any social media to find a new band member? Is that a thing now?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't really know.
Because that sounds like a great idea to me now that you say it, but I don't know. Maybe it's like maybe that's something that a lot of people are doing.
I think the most recent way to do that is through like TikTok or Instagram.
Right.
But like I think that's the newest way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Like if we're looking for like a band to like either like come support us, or like if we're looking for a band to like we can go support, we'll like look through Instagram and like make contacts and stuff. So yeah, I guess it's not like unheard of, but it's definitely newer.
Well, it's funny because like, you know, I think the key difference from when I was like playing in bands a lot and stuff like that was you got linked up with another artist through, you know, whether it was a promoter, whether you're just on the same gig, and then you would kind of, you know, like do the social media stalk a little bit and find out a little bit about them. But using it as the initial step to make a connection instead of just as something you do for research after you've already been connected is I think that's, you know, I mean, for some people who are older and playing in bands, that's a new idea that I think people could learn from. I love that. So what artists influence the sound of the band? Because I'm hearing stuff from all over the place. I'm hearing some Grace. Honestly, Ava, from you, I'm hearing some Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane. I don't know if you even know who that is.
Yeah.
And all right, fantastic. And obviously a ton of blues, you know, both classic blues and newer blues like your Black Keys and stuff like that. What are the artists that influence Platinum Moon?
Well, a lot of Led Zeppelin, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Lots of Led Zeppelin.
That's clear. Yeah.
Like Rolling Stones, Guns N' Roses.
Right.
That's
Right.
the thing behind me.
They're right there. They're
Yeah,
right there.
We definitely all come from a little bit of a different background though. Like my drum teacher Gary is primarily a blues guy, and so I played a lot of blues in my lessons, and that was just kind of where I came from. But I'm also a super big like punk guy, and that's like what I like play like when in my downtime when I practice, and like So like a lot of that is influential to me, and of course, Bonham. Just
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm the
All
same
Bonham.
way. I listen to like almost exclusively like pop punk and third wave ska. And I was a guitarist, and then when they found me for the previous band, I was like, yeah, I'll figure bass out. So
And also, my brother and I are classically trained, so we actually started playing like Chopin and Mozart, and then we eventually moved into rock stuff.
You got to have a foundation for that. I mean, like, you know, at least I always felt that at least having one person in the band who has a foundation in some kind of classical music is always helps. Always helps. And Calvin, I love that you brought up ska and your transition from being a guitar player to a bass player, because like Sublime was my jam. That was one of the earliest bands that I really, and hearing, you know, all those lines that Eric would play in those Sublime songs, it's busy, it's hard, it's complicated, and it's really driving the song more so than the guitar is. The guitar is just chucking chords.
yeah.
So I can see, being a ska fan, making that transition from guitar to bass would make it a little bit more interesting, because there's so much going on.
Yeah, because I feel like ska guitar is kind of almost boring. It's just like 3-string chords.
Yeah.
On the upbeats.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
A lot of upstrokes. Yeah. I love that. So, all right. So you guys came together in, you know, well, not new to me, in a new to me type of way. Walk me through the songwriting process. Like, when you guys first got together, what were those early rehearsals, those early jams like? Did you go in with a plan, like we're going to be a band, or did you just decide, hey, let's just sit down and have fun for an afternoon?
It was a lot of like, let's start with these cover songs. Let's learn them separately and then just play them together. And we'll start introducing originals. I know, like, we started with like my originals, because I had an EP released before, so we started with those, and then we would just gradually be like, hey, I brought this song, hey, I brought this song, hey, I brought this song, and we just messed around with them if they weren't fully complete.
So songwriting is a collaborative process for you guys. There isn't a primary songwriter in the band?
Nah.
Yeah, we're pretty collaborative. Like I'm usually, I think one time I didn't write my own drum part, and that was just because it was written perfectly and I didn't change anything. But like, and like, yeah, we all kind of bring what we have to the table, and we'll, you know, like I'll bring something, you know, to the group, and then, you know, they'll like mess with it and change it how they want, and I'll be like, yep, that makes sense, and then, you know, we'll all do the same thing.
Well, and it depends on who starts it too, because often if like Anton and Joey bring us something, it's like this fully fledged, digitally composed, like written out song, and they're just like, yeah, learn this and figure it out. So, which have turned out to be some of our better songs. So, you know,
it works.
It does.
So how long? Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
But I will say, when we first started out, was I think I kind of have a more unique perspective on it because of the day I came and auditioned. The day I came and auditioned was a very interesting day, just only because when I got there, I had prepared 3 songs that they all wanted me to play and all of that. But the second we were done with that, we just didn't know what to do. And you know, us all being young, our parents were there and whatever. And the parents were like, yeah, play something they know. And I'm like, wait, they can just do that? And I like pulled up a song that I knew, and I was like, and they all just played it, and I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, there was definitely a bunch of messing around at first. I remember jokingly them playing the Wii theme.
Oh, nice.
All of their instruments.
Oh yeah.
For like 5 minutes, and just like seeing that and like, oh, like these guys actually know what they're doing, and it was like, that was awesome. The first time I experienced that, it was,
yeah. So you mentioned like parental involvement, because you guys are young. Some of you were still, you know, minors, and I remember playing in bands when I was that age, but like that was in 2002. So like, what's the parental what's the balance between like, between you guys working with your parents? I guess what I'm asking is, how does gigging work for a young band these days? How does gigging work when not everybody can drive? No one can go into a bar. How do you gig? How does that all work?
I guess, well, for people that can't drive like me, because I don't like driving, my parents drive me everywhere. So, and I think like all our parents like help and motivate us, and they're a big part of why we're here and to like the level we are today. So they always help us with like gigs and like setting up all the equipment and stuff and tearing it down and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which is no, sorry, go ahead.
For the bar, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Calvin.
No, you go ahead.
I'm just, in general, they're just big supporters, like promoting our music and like to their friends, to whoever, and just being there, like cheering us on.
Well, and for the gigs, I think the Klettner's parents are mostly the ones who kind of find us places to play and kind of get in touch with those people and line up gigs for us.
So you guys got to, no, go ahead, man.
I will say most bars will let us in because our parents are there.
Right.
Yeah. And because we're playing.
Yeah, and because we're playing. So the whole like not being able to get into the bar isn't usually an issue. But we haven't experienced it yet.
Definitely. Now, how long have you guys been around again? 2018?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
About the spring of 2018, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a little over 2 years. So you've got an album that's out right now, and it's out on all streaming platforms, by the way. And for people who are just tuning in, I'm talking to Platinum Moon. It's Fairfield County Live and Local from 95.9 The Fox. You guys have an album out right now. It's called Wild Minds, and it's out now on all streaming services. How long did you wait before going into the studio?
Not super long.
Not long enough.
Yeah, not
long enough is the correct answer. I love that. I've done that before. I love that. I'm sorry. Keep going. I love that answer.
Go Ava.
I mean, we were doing like a lot of cover shows with some originals, and we were doing competitions like Connecticut's Got Talent and things like that. And after we won that, we were like, record album time. Like, and sure. I remember one of the last songs we added on, like we were rushing to rehearse these songs because we were like, no, we're recording it now. And one of the last songs we added on, I brought to them the day before, and I was like, guys, we're recording this. Learn it now.
I would hate to say that that's happened more than once.
Yeah.
Where Ava will bring us a song like the night before a gig, or like
yes,
the night before a gig.
Night before a gig is rough. That's tough.
Yeah. So I'll tell that story real quick. But so one night before a gig, we had a gig on January 3rd, 2020. And the next day we had another gig. And so January 2nd, Ava. We were playing with a band called 10 Years.
10 Years. Yeah. We were opening for 10 Years.
At the Chance. And Ava basically came to us and said, guys, we're learning this right now because we want to sound like, we wanted to like appeal to their audience a little bit. So we wrote a song that sounded more similar to what they did, kind of. And like, it was still us, but it was more in their type of vein.
Playing to the audience. Absolutely.
So the night before we learned that song, and then everybody like nobody understood, like even our parents were like, did they actually just learn that last night?
And that song's called All We Ever Do. We're actually planning to release it as a single in January.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But we don't have a date yet. We'll get there.
So tell me about Wild Minds. How many songs do we have on this album?
9.
9. And all originals.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And all written within the span of like I guess if my math is right, this would be about a year and a half that you guys had been together as a band before you like put this out.
Well, some of them Ava had written beforehand, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when you wrote those, but for the most part, yeah.
That's awesome, man. So you guys, you mentioned, Ava, you mentioned a second ago about your experience in Connecticut's Got Talent. Tell me about that, because that's at the Wall Street Theater. You know, that's a relatively big show that has, this is not just like, the high school battle of the bands. This is a show. Tell me about your experience in that. How did you get involved?
Whose parent found it? One of our parents found it.
I think
probably the Klettners.
Yeah.
It's always the Klettners.
We participated in that show as like a duet beforehand, and we were like, this is like a great opportunity to bring this to the band. So we did that, and it was really fun. And we won first place.
How full was
not to brag or anything.
How full was that's why I brought it up. You guys did win it, man. How full was that room? What was the about how many people were you playing in front of?
It was like a couple hundred. I want to say like 400 or 500.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom was pretty full, and then the top had some people in it. It's not a huge theater, but something.
Yeah, and if you count the people who were streaming live on Facebook, it was probably about 400.
Yeah.
Right. Would it be safe to say that was the biggest show you guys had ever played, or have you played other shows like comparable to that size before?
So because we actually won Connecticut's Got Talent, we got part of the prize was to play like a full show at the Wall Street Theater. So I think we can agree that that's our biggest show we've ever played.
Yeah. Well, that or when we opened for 10 years, the chance there were a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did a show at the Danbury Green that ended up being a lot of people.
Yeah, and didn't we play that like arts festival somewhere in Connecticut? That was pretty big. Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Oh, it is.
So when it comes to the live show, I mean, you guys are great performers. You're up there. You're running around. Ava, you're a great front person. You know what I mean? You're full of energy, all of you. Is that something that you work on intentionally in practice, or is that something that just comes out in the live setting?
It's all natural.
Nice.
Like it happens. You can't.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah, like I would consider myself to be like a pretty reserved person. But when I perform, there's more of like an excitement about it and enthusiasm, so I can like get out of my comfort zone and enjoy it.
Yeah.
What is it about music or about performing you think that's able to bring you out of that place?
Well,
I think it's just like kind of like you don't need to like say anything. It can just like be there, and it has like a lot of emotion. It can be whatever you want it to be. You can make it your own. And I think that's really cool to be able to like compose something or perform something that's kind of like your own art. And so I think that's where you get like a lot of that power from.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And I also think that like, for me at least, like knowing that I can do this thing that's then like making other people happy is such a good feeling.
Well, I think Joseph said it. It's a power. It's like it's feeling like you have a superpower for a little while. Exactly. I love that. That's great, man. So you guys said you played that, not the Connecticut's Got Talent, but your Wall Street Theater show that you guys won. That was in early 2020, correct? January, you said? January. So then you guys must have been riding high. You must have been feeling great. Like, we won this contest. We got to play this big show at this big theater. And then boom, everything gets shut down. How have you guys been maintaining as a band in the last year since COVID struck?
So it's definitely difficult because me and Ava are both away at college in Nashville during most of the school year.
Oh, you're both in Nashville. That's cool.
But then when we so when we're there, it's kind of difficult. We kind of almost go on a hiatus. We're all writing, but we'll send stuff to each other, but we can't really practice anything. But then when we come back together, I guess it was May and April this past year, we would actually annoy the crap out of my neighbors because we would set up basically 4 or 5 tents, depending on who could come, because sometimes some of us couldn't come. And we would set up 4 or 5 tents outside, and everybody would be under their tent, and we would play outside. like in my driveway.
Wow.
Yeah, and during the summer, we got some gigs, at outdoor venues that we were able to play. So, like, if it was super sunny or going to rain or something, we put up a big tent and then just set all our stuff up outside. So we got some gigging in.
Was it at one of those gigs that I saw that accordion and violin jam from Anton and Joseph? Was that where I saw that? I love that. What's the story behind that, dude?
Yeah, so Joseph and I both play accordion because we both know how to play the piano. So it's not that hard to learn. So,
Right.
Yeah. So on like the side of the band, we both have we do our like own duet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes Joseph will play the accordion and I'll just play violin, and we just like jam on classic rock songs.
Oh, it's you're playing classic rock songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I would go see just that. That's fantastic. So what's next for you guys? What's the plan for Platinum Moon in 2021?
Well, we've been recording a new album. We're in the process of doing that. We're hoping to release a single first to promote it, and then the entire album later on. But we have to finish recording everything, and COVID's given us more of a chance to write and do so.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
I'd say the plan is to have an album released by hopefully the end of June, so we can ride the summer song wave.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking for those songs in the summer.
The summer sound waves.
Summer sound waves. Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
That's a song title right there.
That's an album title.
Somebody
right
writes an
there.
album title. Somebody write that down. That's great. That's great. Well, listen, whatever you guys write, whatever you guys record, please send it to me. I'd be more than happy to play it because you guys absolutely rip. Seriously.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for being here tonight. This is Platinum Moon. This Sunday on 95.9 The Fox, we're going to be playing a couple of songs from theirs, off of their album Wild Minds. And we'll be including some clips of the podcast in there as well, and a whole other hour of great local Connecticut music. If you live in Fairfield County, Connecticut, or nearby, I think some parts of Westchester County. Some of you guys are from Westchester County, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit in Westchester County. You can go to 95.9 FM, or if not, you can just go to 959thefox.com. You can stream the entire thing there. Platinum Moon, thank you guys so much for being here, and good luck to you. I'm sure you guys are going to do well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stick around after I take us off the live broadcast, but for people watching at home, thank you, and Merry Christmas.